Hey everybody, welcome to episode 50 of the Bark Knight podcast. So yeah, we made it 50 whole episodes now. So to commemorate this, I decided to do a kind of a big deal episode, but not that different than a lot of the things we've done already. But I wanted to bring Dan on because he's been in so many of the episodes now. And I wanted to bring Paul back on because he's done a handful and he did a lot of those. He was one of the first guests I ever had on, so that was really cool. So thank you both for joining me.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So for anybody that hasn't met you guys, why don't you take a moment and introduce yourself? So Paul, why don't you go first?
Yeah, I'm Paul Beverly. I'm up here in upstate New York, but I am a host of a podcast with two other individuals, Kevin and Doug, and we host a podcast called Reset and Rewind, where we go over all of the theatrical released video game movies in chronological order. We just finished Mad Max, which, spoiler alert, is awful. We're looking forward to diving into some better movies as it goes along. But I think when we're talking about like our top movies of all time, when we are looking at those video game movies, none of them are going to be on my top 5 here. I'll tell you that much. So happy to be on.
Yeah, and Mad Max is truly a terrible movie.
It's so bad. There's probably zero redeeming qualities to that movie, honestly.
Nothing.
It doesn't know what it wants to be either. It's just so all over the place. So, yeah.
All right, Dan.
Yes, and I'm Dan Carter. I've been on here a bunch of times, frequent collaborator with Patrick, and I don't really do anything else other than this, but we'll see what happens in the future.
Sounds good. All right, so for the episode today, what we're going to kick off with is our top 5 movies, top 5 favorite movies of all time. So each of us prepared ours, and we're going to go kind of one at a time, starting with number 5, around to each one of us, round robin style. And following that, we'll do a couple honorable mentions that we've prepared. Then we're going to jump into the big thing of the episode, which we should spend a pretty good amount of time on, which is the franchise battle royale. So what that's going to be is I've prepared a bracket of a bunch of different franchises. And basically, the three of us are going to vote and decide which ones we like and which ones we think are best until we figure out who wins. All right.
Yeah, it's exciting. I'm excited. Spoiler alert, I think Bridget Jones's Diary is going to come out on top for that one. Yeah.
It's a good franchise.
Yeah.
It's got to beat Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, right. And these guys don't have any idea the franchises that I put on there.
So. No, I don't know the rules he did either. I'm interested to see.
Well, there's not really any rules, but I prepared no rules, so people might just end up watching us argue about rules the whole time. Who knows?
Hope not. That's not a franchise,
right? There might be a little of that. Yeah, let's not get ahead of ourselves. All right, who wants to kick it off?
Paul, go ahead.
Oh man, well. This is going to speak to the quality of the other 4 movies ahead of this, but number 5 for me is probably going to be number 1 for a couple of you guys. The Thing is number 5. It's probably one of the best science fiction movies ever made, period. It's also probably the best trapped in a setting movie that I've ever experienced. Aside from one other movie, which is right above this, I think. It's got some of the best acting, I think, in a science fiction movie. Got some of the most gory, but also realistic special effects.
So good.
I mean, almost everything about this. Wilford Brimley is incredible in this. The whole movie, it's just something. And one of the things that I did to try to make criteria for these top 5 movies is I listen to the Ringer podcast a lot, Bill Simmons, and he talks about remote dropper movies that once you're just flipping through channels, you would just drop your remote if you would see this movie come up. And The Thing is a movie that I've done that about 20 times. Even if it's halfway through the movie and I come across it on TBS or TNT, I just drop the remote and watch it from that point on. It's so captivating. every single second of that movie, trying to figure out where the thing is. I've seen it maybe 20 times, and I still question it every single time. Like, I don't know who's the next one who's going to be infected. Are they all infected? And even at the end, when you're thinking, like, are these the real people who are sitting there? It's just a phenomenal movie all around, from beginning to end. So, yeah.
Yeah, I completely agree.
That's a great pick. Absolutely great pick.
I don't want to say too much. But
we all know. We all know you gotta be quiet now, Pat.
Well, I'll say this. Anybody who's watched a significant number of our episodes has seen me go on a soapbox about this movie many, many, many times. I've seen it. I've seen it well more than 20. I watch it once or twice a year, and there's probably years out there where I watched it a lot of times. And I've done the thing where you sit there, no pun intended, and you try and track where, like, I've done watches of it solely with the goal of trying to work out when people get infected. And it's super fun, and it's just one of those, like, puzzle box movies where you can create a lot of different experiences out of it. So, yeah, big fan of that.
That's a great pick. That's a strong start. For my number 5, we all know I love superhero movies, and I figured I'd kick the list off. And as I was going through trying to figure out which one I wanted to put in this slot, because I like right from the beginning, I'm like, I gotta put a superhero movie here. I went back and forth on a few options, but I ended on Avengers Endgame. And I ended on that movie because just one of my favorite experiences of ever being in a movie theater is the scene where the Avengers assemble scene. Iconic, everyone knows it. But seeing that for the first time in the movie theater, and like just that feeling I had, and how, like, I don't know if I'm ever gonna have that again, you know, because that was years and years of build up to get to that scene, and like Marvel's chasing that high again, everyone else is chasing that high. I don't know when or if that's ever gonna be topped, but that was one of my favorite, like, movie going experiences. And still, like, if me and my nephew are sitting around, he's like, let's put a movie on, that's the one we put on still. So that speaks to the quality of it. It speaks to everything. As I said, just the story, the Marvel MCU built up to that moment, and it was a huge payoff, and they kind of struggled since then, but you can't forget how good that was. So number 5, I put Avengers Endgame.
Yeah, I would echo all of that. Avengers Endgame was, I think people downplay how big of a actual moment that was for just not only like the MCU, but for cinema in general.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you had to invest multiple hours, dozens of characters to get to this moment, and the payoff was phenomenal. I mean, it's by no means a perfect movie, but is it one of the more enjoyable movies I've ever experienced? Yeah. Like, it's just so much fun. Yeah, I love that movie. I think it's great.
Yeah, when did that movie just came up in an episode not too long ago, didn't it, Dan? What did we do? Was that the top 25 of the last 25? Was that what that was?
Yes, it was. It was, yeah.
So that was in my top 25 of the last 25 years, and it's absolutely, it's one of those things that I'll never forget my movie going experience of seeing that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's gonna be with me forever. That moment in the theater and hearing the crowd erupted, just have never seen or heard anything like that before or since.
Yeah. I think I've cried every time I watch that movie.
Yeah. I get shivers every single time Cap grabs the hammer. Just like, gets the hammer back. It's just, that moment is perfect. Just incredible. Yeah.
It's filmed perfectly, and it's set up so well. It's great. Heck, even the scene where Hawkeye's wife calls him, I get a little, like, ugh. Even though it doesn't make sense. Like, why is the phone still on? But whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just so great. Yeah.
Well, the phone's still on because it disintegrated with her, right?
That's Probably. True. That's right. I mean, we also Nick Fury's beeper not go with him, so.
Yeah. Gotta
We're
be
poking
in the
holes.
pockets.
We don't exactly. It's gotta be in the pockets, actually, on the person. Makes sense.
It's very
Question,
specific.
Did the clothes disintegrate with them? Yeah, that's great. Uh-huh.
Yeah, they did the full clothes went with them thing. They didn't do the. They had seen War of the Worlds, and they were like, "Well, after what Scary Movie 3 did to that, we're not doing that again."
Yeah, guys, we're gonna cancel the rest of the episode and just go about this movie now. So. Theories about the close.
All right, so my number 5 is one I have also talked about many, many, many times on this episode. I've talked about all my movies a lot of times on this show, but it's Tombstone. And so, just like you said, that is one where anytime it's on, I'm watching it. A recurring theme with all of mine is that I've been a fan of them for so long that I own them in multiple versions. So I decided to pull out the old VHS of this one to show how long I've been a fan of this movie. I bought this brand new way back in the day. So that's how long this one's been around. But I'm a big fan of it, and the cast is perfect. It is probably one of the best westerns ever made. You know, it's got a lot of different, like, large set piece action sequences in it. You know, like, it's a long movie and a ton happens. And, like, even once everything, like, hits the fans with the brothers and everything, like, you're still only halfway into that movie, you know?
Yeah, it's an incredible movie. It's also got some of the best... I know it's technically not a blockbuster, but it's got some of the best blockbuster acting. The cast is phenomenal. The entire group is just, like, clicking on all cylinders. This is a great pick.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm a big fan of it, and I've been pretty much a big fan of it for, like, all my life. I think this came out in, like, 1993, I want to say. And I saw it on Christmas of that year for the first time. Like, I went over to my family's house and my cousin was watching it, and I was just, like, blown away.
Yeah. I remember the set design of this, too. It just felt like next level. Yeah, I love that movie. It's a great pick. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of this. And it's probably my favorite
Kilmer?
Val Kilmer role.
I was just going to say, yeah, it's like a quintessential Val role. Yeah. I love, too, the scene where he's, like, drunk and spinning the guns, and he spins them 2 different directions. It's just one of, like, the slightest little things, but he's like, I've got 2 guns here, one for each of you, and he spins them in different directions. I always thought that was the coolest thing. Something I wanted Han Solo to do. It's just awesome. Yeah.
Or when he's spinning the cups.
Yes, yeah. It's just great. Oh.
It looks like we lost Dan.
Yeah.
Somewhere in that, he's like, oh, trash pick, I'm out of here.
I'm done. Tombstone, off the line immediately. Well, I can keep going if we want to.
That's okay. It looks like he's...
Sorry about that.
Like he's back.
You got so upset over the Tombstone pick. You just signed it right off.
No, the internet decided to stop working. It was all going good, too. All right. So what I missed? You had Tombstone on VHS, I saw?
Yes. Tombstone. I did my whole spiel on Tombstone that I've done many times already. So you already know.
No, I know the spiel.
You know the deal. You know the spiel.
I do.
Well, I'll hop into my next one. This is probably the most if there's a theme to all these top 5, this is the one that's outside of it. And so for my number 4 is Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Okay.
I don't think Dan's ever seen that movie.
I haven't seen that one.
It is probably between Jim Carrey and Kirsten Dunst, Elijah Wood, and...
Forgot Elijah Wood is in that.
Yeah. And the guy who plays Hulk, I can't think of his name off the top of
Mark
my head.
Ruffalo.
Mark Ruffalo. It's a pretty, like, well-rounded cast. But beyond that, Kate Winslet and Jim Carrey put on probably 2 of the best performances of their career. Jim Carrey, his best in general. It's some of the best screenwriting. Really, really, really beautiful camera work. It's set in a time in my life, too, where I was just kind of discovering that, like, alt indie style of movies. And this came at the right time. And I just remember watching this thinking, like, oh, you can do that, right? Like, that is a thing that you can do with movies. You can tell really intricate, winding stories. You can talk about things like about love and memories and about erasing those things. And I also remember this is like pre-Me Too movements and everything. And I remember going back and watching it now and thinking how empowering the move by Kirsten Dunst at the end, where she just sends out all of these documents to everybody. How empowering that move is too. And so it's one of my favorite films, and it's one of those remote droppers where whenever it's on I just watch it. But it's also one of those things, it just turned I think 20 years old last year, and it is an emotional, timeless kind of classic for me. I love it. It's also very weirdly science fiction, but also very grounded, and so it's my favorite type of science fiction, where just like Children of Men, movies like that just feel really set in like an allegorical, timeless sort of way that speaks to like society in completely different levels. So I love it. It's great.
Yeah, it's got like a unique feel to it too. Like it's almost like a surreal experience to watch it.
Yeah.
And I remember stumbling into it a few different times, like late at night, when I was just like flipping through the channels and be like, oh yeah, this is a good movie. And every time it was like, it would just be like, man, I forgot how like different this movie is than most movies out there. Like it is such a unique experience. Dan, I highly recommend you go check this one out.
I gotta catch it.
It really is up there.
Yeah.
It's one of those ones I don't know.
It's wonderful.
Don't know how I missed it, but I have missed it.
It is my favorite Jim Carrey performance, and I kept jostling between either Eternal Sunshine or Truman Show. Like, which one do I like more? And Eternal Sunshine edged it out by just a little bit, but in both movies, Jim Carrey is he's not his typical kind of Jim Carrey self, but he's just really, really great in this too. So, yeah.
Who are you talking to?
Love it. I love it. It's great. Yeah.
Yeah, Truman Show is great too. What's that other one that he did? The Majestic?
The Majestic, yeah.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
That's a not core memory, but it's a memory unlocked.
Yeah. I love The Majestic. I remember Truman Show came out right around the same time Ed TV did too. And so I remember like getting those two confused in my brain all the time.
Ed TV, that's a callback too.
Yeah, Dan. You really, really, really got to check
All right.
Eternal Sunshine.
You know what?
Spotless Mind. It's up. It just for, like you said, Kate Winslet's performance.
Do love her.
She's one of those that's like she's always bringing it. So you know she does, but it probably is up there as one of the best roles of Jim Carrey. So you got to see it just for that.
My girlfriend's been wanting to watch different things from what we've been watching lately, so that'd be a good one to throw out there.
This one is different.
All right. So it's on to my number 4. At number 4, I put, as you've mentioned a few times now, the term remote dropper I really like. And this is a movie that even like if it's on, well, I mean, basic cable's kind of dead now, but if I see it anywhere, I will stop and watch it. And that is James Cameron's Aliens. It edged out Alien for me just by a little bit, just because of the action in it and just the cast and the characters and how they all interact with each other. And I love monster movies. This is one of the best monster movies you're going to ever see. The idea of you go to this space colony and there's just these creatures there that don't care. They can't be reasoned with. They want you dead so they can make more of them. It's so very good. And it's so I know the word iconic is overused, but it is. Like, things in this are just things that everyone knows. Bill Paxton, Game Over Man, that's everywhere. The APC crash, the scene with like the smart guns mowing down all the aliens and stuff, and then they're in the ceilings, and you're always an asshole, Gorman. Just everything in the movie is just quote.
Do my eye.
Yeah, Apone. Yeah, perfect. Like everything in it just is so good and so memorable, and it's just the movie that I will always enjoy watching. So yeah, my number 4, I went with Aliens.
Yeah. I do not love Aliens as much as as much as other people, but I think that this is probably, and this is an argument that has gotten me in trouble before too. This is probably the best film James Cameron has ever directed. Right, shot for shot, it's beautiful. I know Titanic and Terminator 1 are both, and even Terminator 2, like those are in the conversation here, but Aliens really does take what Ridley Scott did and puts this like kind of, I don't know, like cotton candy feel on top of it, where it just feels like this video game to me. And it's really well directed, really well shot. The cinematography is amazing in it. I think this is like as much as I dislike Bill Paxton as an actor, I really love almost every single shot of this film, and it takes the horror and magnifies it to an action level from Alien to Aliens that is just, it's just really, it exemplifies what's really great about James Cameron, this movie.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Aliens, and it's not on my list. And I kind of, like, I'm almost thinking like as soon as he said it, I was like, damn it.
It was so hard. Not we'll save it for honorable mentions, but yeah,
if I was sitting in this chair when I made this list, I might be, because I'm looking at a bunch of Alien stuff up there, like the different popcorn buckets. I got the 4K edition of these. I got the documentary. I got a toy. Like, all of it's up there.
I just realized I had the VHS right there. I could have grabbed it for this, but I didn't.
There you go. Yeah, it's I mean, it's an all-time classic. It really is. And I'm a big fan of everybody that's in this. And somebody just messaged me the other day and said they watched Near Dark for the first time.
Yeah.
Our episode.
Awesome.
And I gave them probably more information than they ever possibly needed on that movie. But that's got Lance Henriksen, Bill Paxton, Jeanette Goldstein, all coming right off Aliens and jumping into a different horror movie together. And yeah, it's such a unique place in time,
right?
You know, and it really is lightning in a bottle.
And it's not to, just one last thing, just the fact that they did the beginning of Alien 3, what they did to Michael Bihn's character, just still one of the great travesties that they need to get that fixed before it's too late.
They do need to fix that. But also, like, and I guess one last point, I think, like, Alien is really up there as one of the best horror movies, absolutely one of the best sci-fi horror movies ever made. But the power of Aliens, that's the movie that established it as a franchise.
Yeah.
That's the one that was like, oh, we're going to sell a bunch of toys and video games and all of this stuff with this because of how cool he made it all. You know, and that's extremely powerful of that movie, that they're still selling toys.
They're still making movies.
For that franchise. Yeah. All of these decades later, you know, and that's impressive.
That's the power of James Cameron, in my opinion. It's just like taking something that feels... I'll talk about this later, but taking something that feels one way and just translating it into like a mass appeal. That's a James Cameron move, right there.
Like Spielberg does the same thing.
The best. Yeah.
Okay.
All right, buddy.
My turn. Okay. So my next movie is Heat.
Oh, fantastic. That hurts.
So big fan of this movie. Robert De Niro, Al Pacino, Val Kilmer, whole bunch of other guys doing really, really awesome work. Michael Mann, phenomenal movie, one of the best gun shootouts ever put to film. And
no question.
One of the best soundtracks. And this one was like, it was also powerful in that, like, it was its own sort of like culmination of the careers of Al Pacino and Robert De Niro, which had gone on similar trajectories for years and years and years until the diner scene, when they finally share a scene together. And that scene and the final scene in the movie are so just perfectly shot. And it's one of those movies that, in my eyes, it's a masterpiece. And I never look at it and can identify a single thing I would change about it. You know, like, sometimes there's movies out there where, like, you know, you can, like, it's like, oh man, I wish the, you know, this one little piece of CGI or whatever wasn't there. There's nothing, absolutely nothing in this movie. It's right up there. So this is a huge movie for me. I think the dialogue, the writing, Michael Mann, it's him at the top of his game. And he's done a lot of movies similar to this, but this is the one where he's doing what he does on all cylinders, 100%, you know, hitting it. So yeah, Heat, big fan.
That's a great check. That's a great pick.
Yeah, I've only seen Heat recently, like within the past 6 months. For the first time, people kept saying like, "Oh, you should see it. You should see it." I just never got around to it. Finally did, and everything you said is true. It might be one of the best LA-based movies I've ever seen. Like, I feel like it captures what it feels like to me to be like a criminal in LA. I don't know how else to describe it. It also feels to me like this is what I want more of from De Niro and Pacino in their elder years, right? Like movies like this where they don't have to be the superstars. They're playing off of a cast of characters. They're really flexing their acting muscles. This is Michael Mann at his best. I love this movie. I've only seen it, I think, 2 times now, but I think it's a real testament that I've seen it 6 months ago and have rewatched it again. That's how great it is. Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those movies that I think needs a little bit more love than it gets, but hopefully over the years it'll get it. I mean, it's definitely been out for a while, but sometimes people just need to reevaluate things. And I hope that like as people start doing like more and more like list of the 20th century and stuff, people start to realize how good that movie is.
Yeah, and how much of an influence it has on all like without Heat, you wouldn't have Dark Knight. The Dark Knight, like the Dark Knight is the Heat to an nth degree. So much of an influence there. So yeah,
it's a really interesting point.
That is, I like that.
Well, I mean, we already talked about my third a little bit, but number 3 for me is Alien.
Oh, heck yeah.
Alien is, I think, when we talk about perfect movies, I think Alien is the perfect movie. There are 2 movies above this for nostalgic reasons that I rank higher, but when I say, like, if you were to, like, imagine the most perfect movie of all time, it is Alien, hands down. From the way in which the design of the alien itself is just terrifying and beautiful and so seamlessly like alien and human and machine. It like marries all these primal urges in you too. It's great. Sigourney Weaver redefines what it means to be like a protagonist in this. It's a haunted mansion in space, basically, movie, which is just great for me. Like, I love horror and sci-fi and marry them together. It's great. Ridley Scott, I think, here just takes all of his tools of being like a real commercial director and puts it on the big screen and makes some just like really beautiful decisions where I don't know if I would make those same decisions, but it really does feel like he channeled Stanley Kubrick in some places. It's just wonderful. The plot is great. The escape sequences are great. Everything's great about it. So I think it's a perfect movie in my opinion. It's amazing. So I'm
really glad you put that on there. It hurt me physically to not have Alien on the list, but I couldn't have Aliens and Alien. And right now I'm a little higher on Aliens for whatever reason. But I'm with you. Like if you did a top 10, they'd both be on there. And I absolutely love Alien. So completely agree with everything you said.
Yeah, Alien is really, really, really an awesome movie, and it's got an awesome 4K edition of it too. I bought that on 4K, I don't know, year and a half ago maybe, and it's really, really, really beautiful, the work that they did getting that version of it out, and I highly recommend it for if neither of you guys have seen the 4K edition of it.
I saw an IMAX.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that, man. I remember when you messaged me about
you should have came.
I was like, son of a bitch. Like, I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah. Jaws is gonna
a little bit of notice, Dan.
Jaws is gonna do it on the 28th of August, buddy.
Yeah, I gotta keep an eye out better for those things because Jaws 7, Alien, like. Hey.
Sorry, you said Jaws 7. Like, there's not 7.
Jaws,
how dare you?
What are we in The Simpsons? Yeah.
Sorry, I stole your thunder, buddy.
It's okay. All right, what are we at?
3.
Where are you, Dan?
Oh, it's me, isn't it? I'm so sorry. All right, for me, I decided in my third position to go to Middle Earth. And it was a struggle to decide which one of those I want to go with. It has gone back and forth again, like Alien and Aliens. But I went with Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring. The first installment in the series. It is, like, I know people joke, like, no, they don't joke, but, like, a comfort movie is a thing that is part of the lexicon nowadays. Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring is a comfort movie for me. If I'm having a bad day, if I just want to turn my brain off for a little while, I put that movie on, and I am happy as a clam. I will watch that movie multiple times a week. I've watched it more than any other movie in the franchise just for that reason. The other ones are great, don't get me wrong, but this one just has a special place in my heart. The cast is great, the set design, the dialogue, just everything is so good, and just Peter Jackson just absolutely crushed it with the whole franchise. But this was my introduction into that world, and it's the one that made the most impact, and it's the one that I think is the best for that reason. Like, obviously, like Return of the King, probably a better movie overall, but you don't get there without this. So that is the reason I'm going to go with where I put Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring as my number 3.
Yeah, this one was in my honorable mention, so I'll just mention it now. It's awesome. It's one of the only movies I've seen at the theater 3 times, and I highly thought about putting it here. And I'm with you. I like this one more than I like the other ones. I like the other ones, but I really, really, really just think this is just a perfect movie. And I very much remember seeing those scenes that are like, the other ones have like a lot of really big battles and things that it culminated, but like just those scenes of like Cate Blanchett at the beginning of this one just talking through some of the lore, like that stuff to me was some of the best part of this. And I remember seeing that in the theater and being like, I need to see this again. Like almost as soon as it ended, you know, and like those scenes of like quiet, like world building and like where you're soaking in the atmosphere of this universe, like that stuff is like, that's my favorite part of it. And then you got Sean Bean. His scene
The best
is like one of the best movie deaths of all time.
It's got to be up there. I can't really think of one that tops it. And I was going to mention that it slipped my mind. I meant to mention it, and you were talking about the battles and stuff. I'm like, oh my god, I meant to mention that. But yeah, his scene where he redeems himself to save Merry and Pippin, just perfect. It's just so good.
Mm-hmm.
I won't say much because it is on my list, but like on it as well. But it's a damn good movie, and I will just keep it at that, and then rant and rave about it a little bit later.
All right.
But yeah.
All right. So I guess that brings it down to me.
To you.
So I cheated.
Whoa.
Because, you know, that's what I do.
I should have expected it.
And I put 2 movies at 3 because to me it really is a part 1 and a part 2. And it's one of the original part 1s and part 2s.
Oh.
And that is The Godfather part 1 and part 2. And I think they're both really telling a big part of that story, because the first one it's really, really, really iconic, and there's so many things in it that people remember when they think back on this film. They are from this film. It's got so many like one-liners that are like one-liners for no reason, but like, you know, like just so many things, just so many quotable moments. But also it's setting up Michael Corleone as the head of the family. You know, the whole movie is doing that. And for that to really mean something, you do need part 2. And, you know, it's not one of those cases where, like, if they had only ever made one, it'd be, you know, a travesty, you'd be disappointed. If they had only ever made one, I'd probably just be talking about the first one now still, because it is that good. But with part 2, you get to see him in power. And that is, you know, that whole movie, every time I see it, I'm shocked at how amazing it is as well. And that's also got Robert De Niro in it. And so you're getting the story of Robert De Niro's Vito growing up and coming into power, and what that was like for him after you saw that out of his son in the first one. And they're telling that in conjunction with how Michael is struggling with this and the choices that he has to make. And I really, really think it's beautiful, because they almost glorify this life in the first one, and then in the second one they show that it takes such a massive toll on him to do this, and he's doing it mostly successfully, but he's like losing his family, and he's losing his happiness, and he's losing all these things along the way, and you just have it makes you ask that question of like, I was glorifying this in the first one, but is this actually worth it? Is he being fulfilled whatsoever? And I think the answer is he's not, and I think that's what it leaves you with in that final shot of the movie of him just sitting there and you looking in on his face and realizing that this man's not happy whatsoever. And I think that the duality of those two movies, I think it really is. They're cinematic masterpieces, and they defined what the mafia genre would be for 50 years to come after that. Everything that has been made has been able to run because of these movies, So, yeah, The Godfather Part 1 and 2, that's my thing for that.
Yeah. To me, The Godfather, this is Coppola obviously at his best, but it's also, you just mentioned it, like there's a direct line between The Godfather and The Departed, right?
Absolutely.
Like, you can see the two filmmakers in dialogue with one another, trying to figure out, like, okay, how am I going to kind of talk about the same thing that The Godfather does, but also make it a twist and do something different, evolve that conversation, but also kind of like break that conversation and that mold a little bit too. So Coppola set the standard, and every filmmaker after it, when they're talking about the mafia, even in The Sopranos, has been trying to reestablish or redefine what Coppola cemented here. And so just from like genre defining situation, it's a masterpiece in that way. But then you talk about the acting on top of that. You talk about the way in which the story is told, which you just described it really beautifully. It's a masterpiece. It probably would be on my list if I was actually thinking about like the best movies I've ever seen, and not like my favorite, but like this is probably the best movie that I've ever seen. Godfather Part 2. Godfather Part 1 is close, but 2 is like the best movie I've ever seen. It is incredible.
Right. And as you said, I like that's definitely iconic. Like, if you look at list of like the best movies, like overall, you see like Goodfellas pop up on it. You see Casino. You see The Departed, as you mentioned, and those movies all, as you said, branch off of this. This is kind of where they've all the what's the word here? Mafia, crime family like stuff comes from. And yeah, it's an absolutely iconic movie. I'm gonna show it to my nephew actually this weekend for the first time, so I'm excited to do that. Yeah.
How old is he?
He is 13.
It's time.
Yeah. My mom showed him Final Destination the other day. I'm like, you showed him Final Destination. What is wrong with you?
Man.
Let us know how that goes, because I'm curious how a 13-year-old handles
I know.
Because I don't know if I would have even liked it at 13.
I'm worried about it,
to say.
but I think that's about the time I saw it. So, and he said he wanted to watch classic movies, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, a little while in, you look over, he's just sleeping.
He might be. he might be on his phone.
Whenever we talk about The Godfather, I think the other film that always gets mentioned is like Scarface, and for me, when I talk about Godfather, Scarface doesn't exist without Godfather. And in many ways, that is Pacino in dialogue with the Godfather, right? Like, his performance there is completely trying to evoke something different than Corleone, his performance in The Godfather. And so even that iconic movie, Scarface, could not ever happen without The Godfather, and that just speaks volumes, in my opinion, too, of how important that movie is. Like, it's incredible.
It is.
Well, and then you take that a step further with Carlito's Way, where he was trying to do, once again, something completely different with that same crime idea, of somebody that's trying to get out, not trying to move up. And a different performance and all those things. And it's really interesting that Al Pacino really dug into that in his career so much, and all the different ways he tried to do it, But like you said, it all started with The Godfather. And I did want to show off a couple Godfather-related things I have here once again.
Ooh.
We got the Godfather DVD collection here. I got this
Does
from
it have-
way back in the day.
Does it have 3 in it?
It's got all 3 in it.
I've actually never seen 3. I've heard it's terrible. I haven't brought myself to watch it yet.
You know, so the thing with the third one that I'll say is that it's not a terrible movie, but it comes off 2 masterpieces. And when you just release 2 10s in a row, and then you pop out a 7, it takes missteps. You know, it's rushed, and some of the performances aren't up there, and some of the decisions you're like, why would you do it like this?
Exactly.
Like, what? I've seen both versions of it too. It's got a different one called like the Godfather Coda, Death of Michael Corleone. And I've seen that version too, and I do think it's better, but there's still those weird decisions, you know, like his daughter is still in it, and she's still.
Heard she's bad.
The decision to have like her and Andy Garcia like lovers when they're cousins is such a bizarre thing too. But I won't get into all that. But like, yeah, there's just like a handful of just like why would you write it like this?
Yeah.
I also got the Godfather video game here for PlayStation 2. Big fan of this one. And then I got, as I showed off once upon a time, the Godfather Part 2 4K Steelbook.
Wow.
So I'm a big fan.
Big fan.
Well, my number 2, it has been talked about already. It's The Fellowship of the Ring. And so I'll just jump off of what we've all said. The Fellowship of the Ring is a comfort movie is the best way to define it. It is a comfort movie. It is also the best adventure movie that you could ask for. The other 2 are giant, big, epic battles, and I love them, and I think they're great. But the intimacy of The Fellowship of the Ring and the way in which every single shot really makes you connect with these characters in a way that no other movie aside from my number 1 has done, right? It's just like, it is an incredible feat of filmmaking, 1. 2, a really great character study for each individual. The casting is phenomenal here. Elijah Wood, Sean Astin, Sean Bean, you have Viggo Mortensen, who is relatively unknown, who comes into this movie and is just like awesome in it. And then Ian McKellen, who I think is also kind of underrated as an actor, who can do Magneto and then simultaneously who is like the quintessential misunderstood villain, and then also do Gandalf, who is this like trickster wizard idol, so to speak. Like, he can pull off both of those, and he feels like 2 different characters. I love this movie. This is the movie that I've seen the second most in my entire life, and I watch it at least once a year just to like reignite a lot of the fun. And hold one moment while I get it, but I also have a little thing, much like Pat. I collect like figures, and so this is my Gandalf figure that sits right next to me on my desk. And so it is like my favorite figure, but also my favorite character in that whole series. He's just phenomenal. And so, yeah,
that's really cool.
It's great. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think the point you made about the quiet moments and the intimacy in the first one, like, that's why the payoff is so great in the third one, you know, of them getting there, and when all the characters that survive are reunited, and like, you care about these characters so much because of the character building in the first one.
Yeah, can't agree more. It won't belabor a point, but I completely agree with everything that we said about it. I'm glad. I was worried that like I was gonna say like Fellowship of the Ring, and everyone's gonna be like, no, Return of the King's better. And yeah, no, it is definitely my favorite. And again, not a knock on the other ones. It's just like you said. I think the thing you said that you said I like the most is you said it's an adventure movie, and it is. The other ones are war movies. This is an adventure movie to set up the war. So yeah, I like that point a lot.
Yeah, it's a wonderful movie. Happy to list it as number 2.
All right, for my number 2, it also has already been mentioned. Patrick started his list off with it, and that is Tombstone for me.
Oh,
And
there it
yeah,
is.
and like Tombstone, like sometimes like you talk about like a movie that you just have connection with. This was like mine and my dad's first like favorite movie like together. Like you talk about. I'm gonna show my godson, my nephew, um, Godfather. I remember Tombstone being like, oh, the first like R-rated movie I got to see, and I can literally probably quote that entire movie, just word for word. I know that doesn't speak to the quality of the movie, but it's just so much good fun. Is there other movies out there that are more historically accurate or have better impact, have better stories? Sure. But for me, I will never say no to watching Tombstone. And the cast is great. We've talked about many times on the show, so I won't go into all that. But Kurt Russell's fantastic. Val Kilmer's iconic. You got Sam Elliott in there. You got Bill Paxton. You got Powers Booth. You got Michael Biehn. It's just one of those movies that I just absolutely, it just works for me. And it might not be everyone's cup of tea, but I absolutely love Tombstone.
Yeah, it's a phenomenal movie. Pat already mentioned a lot about it, and I will say I am kicking myself that I didn't include this on here. It's great. It's a phenomenal movie. Yeah.
Awesome.
He's like, I already talked about this. I don't want to talk about it anymore.
I've got nothing to say about Tombstone. I'm sorry. I did my thing, and I've talked about. I feel so. If so, anybody that's been watching the show is probably like, I don't want to hear Patrick talk about Tombstone again.
Yeah. But you just got to mention it one last time. We can move past it. Next time I do a list like this, we'll say Tombstone's disqualified.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll put it in the Bark Knight podcast Hall of Fame and not talk about it again.
Okay, my number 2. So this one is kind of out of left field, probably, it seems, with a lot of these lists, but it is Inception. So Inception to me is one of those movies I've just watched so many times. And it's funny because while I was putting this together earlier, I was like, oh, we're starting the episode later, so I'm going to watch a movie. And I was flipping through, and I was like, you know what? I was thinking about putting Inception on my list. I'm going to watch it. And so I watched it today between work and the episode to put it like fresh in my head. And while I was watching it, Sarah came in. She's like, oh, what are you watching? And I was like, Inception. She's like, okay, bye. I was like, what's going on? She's like, you watched this movie so many times. And I was like, I really have. She's like, and she asked me, she's like, why do you like this movie so much? Like, where you can watch it so many times. And I was like, one of the things with it is that, to me, it is one of those puzzle box movies where I'm trying to work out exactly what's going on. And every time I watch it, I feel like I've like if this movie's like a Rubik's Cube, I feel like every time I watch it, I get a couple clicks, and into the progress of nailing down exactly what is going on in this movie. And many people, I think, look at it much more like straightforward than me, but I think even for that, it's one of the best like action thrillers out there. Like, I mean, the scene where the hallway is like tumbling is one of the best action scenes, where they're fighting through that whole
Incredible.
thing.
Yeah.
Choreography is so good.
And it really is. And the score is out of this world. Hans Zimmer,
Can't be touched.
It really is. It's Christopher Nolan, firing on all cylinders too with these things, And so you've got all of those things going on, and I was kind of like realizing in my head as I watched it today, I was like what, I need to watch Tenet again, but like I feel like that was just it was one puzzle box too many for me.
Exactly.
While I'm still trying to figure this one out, and I'm like I barely even nailed down what that movie's about. But but I've only seen it once, so like maybe one day I'm like, okay, maybe I'll watch that a bunch of times now. But and I don't want to go too deep on this, but Paul, I remember when we were doing the episode way back a few years ago, and you had asked me kind of what my thoughts are on this movie and the ending. And I feel like I've clicked it a few more times since you asked me then, so I wanted to just kind of talk about the ending for just a moment here. So the ending of this movie, I think everything about this movie is that I think I've nailed myself squarely on the theory that this entire movie is actually about Leonardo DiCaprio's crew. And this is spoiler alert. It's actually about his crew trying to do an Inception on him. And everything with the heist in it is all just for show. That's the thing that they're doing. Their thing, because if you watch it, everything they do with Cillian Murphy, they actually do to Leonardo DiCaprio's character as well.
Yeah.
And it's all about the idea that they are trying to get him to face his guilt over his wife's death in order to face his children once again. And even in one scene, I wrote it down in what I consider to be sort of like the level 2 of the Inception on Cobb's character. Ariadne says to him, she says, "Your guilt defines her. It's what powers her, and you are not responsible for the idea that destroys her. And if you are going to get through this, you're going to have to forgive yourself, and you're going to have to confront her, but you don't have to do it alone." And that theme is something that they touch on in every one of the levels of the heist, is while they're doing everything with the guy and his Cillian Murphy's character, they touch on something with this. And she specifically has a conversation with him in every single level as they go down. And you had asked me, Paul, what I thought specifically about the ending. And I had said, well, you know, I don't think the ending matters. And I still feel that way, because regardless of whether he's in a dream or not, at the end, it worked because he's able to face his kids. So if he's in a dream at that moment, that just means the heist worked, the Inception worked because he's facing his kids, and he's going to wake up, you know, somewhere soon here, and he's going to actually go and see his kids. Now, with that being said, I do not think it's a dream. I think he has actually arrived to his family and he's going to see his kids. But the point is, it doesn't really matter if it's a dream or not, because he has forgiven himself and he has come to the point where he can look his kids in the face again without being overwhelmed by guilt, which it seems his whole thing now is that he's just trying to travel the world and do these heists and do this and that. And I'm not even sure if there's actually any corporations chasing him or whatever, if that's part of the thing. Yeah, that's part of this thing they've invented for him to get him to face his guilt. Like, hey, this is your mission, and they've designed this whole mission, you know. So I think that's why this for me is one of my favorite movies of all time, because like every time I watch it, it's like click, 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 and I've figured a few more things out.
Yeah, this is like the evolution of Nolan in general, right? Like from Memento all the way to
Oppenheimer?
Inception.
Okay.
I think Tenet's a little bit too much for me.
Yeah.
Like Tenet's just...
He just did it too far.
one too many clicks. But I also think like Inception has all of the blockbuster potential and all of the indie at the same time. And so like you have Leonardo DiCaprio as the leading man, and then Joseph Gordon-Levitt, who is like the indie darling in it as well. You have Marion Cotillard from all these French films, and at the same time you have Ellen, now Elliot Page, who was exploding on the blockbuster scene at the same time. So like you have all of these different kind of actors playing in the same universe at the same time. Nolan, who's the master, like maestro of this, really great set pieces, choreography, and then a story that can only be told by Christopher Nolan, I think. Like, it's a story that if you put that in the hands of any other filmmaker, they would fumble it. I think Nolan is like the Spielberg of our time, where Spielberg's star has waned a little bit. Nolan is that guy, and so you give him any sort of like IP or franchise, or you give him any sort of like story, and he can magnify it to the nth degree, and he does it really well here. It's a great movie.
Yeah, it really is. It's fantastic. It's one of those ones that, as you said, just the more and more you watch it, the more and more stuff you pick up on it, and that's all on purpose. Like, that's him leaving those little seeds for you to kind of interpret how you want to. And actually, I went and saw Superman this weekend, and there was a little trailer for the Odyssey before that, so that was exciting.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, they didn't show much.
Can't wait for that. Yeah.
Just show John Barenthal talking to Tom Holland, and I'm like, okay, I'm in. That's all I needed.
Yeah, me too.
That's awesome.
That's all I need. You got me with John Barenthal. I'm fine. Yeah.
I think you just convinced me to go see Superman.
It's a fun movie.
It's a whole other podcast.
Yeah, right.
My number one, if you've ever met me or talked with me or know anything about me, number one is no surprise. Empire Strikes Back is the best movie ever made, hands down. In my opinion, there's really no debate. I saw Empire Strikes Back when I was 6, and I've seen it every year since. I don't think I think I've seen it maybe multiple times a year, every single year. There is not a moment in this movie where I think you could change anything. From the opening shot of Hoth all the way to the end scene of Luke looking over this galaxy with Lando and Chewie flying into it, it's just a masterpiece in every single set. Now, I know people are like, oh, you could do here, this doesn't make sense, this doesn't make sense. Sure, you can look over that, but the introduction of Yoda is huge here, and just in the context of Star Wars in general, like the first Star Wars came out, it's a great movie, it's huge, it changes cinema in general, it's massive weight. And then you go to this movie, which has Luke, I am your father, and introducing these new planets. It is the sequel done at its best. It's also just some of the best music. The Imperial March is introduced in this movie. Darth Vader's star shines bigger. The Emperor is actually shown on screen for the first time. This is where it all begins. Like, all of Star Wars, I know, really began with Star Wars, but when you think about the current canon, it's because Empire Strikes Back did it so well. We talked about Alien to Aliens. It's really Empire did the same sort of thing. It, like, springboarded this universe to something really huge and really big. And I also think, too, when you look at current filmmaking, I think whether it's intentional or not, a lot of what George Lucas does in Empire Strikes Back is the blueprint for current blockbuster filmmaking, right? Like, you introduce a hero, you see him kind of this hero's journey thing, sure, and that's the plot over it, but below that are these kind of shots and set pieces and designs and CGI and introductions to new worlds. And I think, intentional or not, everybody has kind of copied that in the blockbuster sphere to make these sort of movies. It's incredible. And my last point that I won't belabor, but the worlds are incredible in this movie. I don't think that since I've seen it, I've always wanted to go to Cloud City. I wanted to see that kind of carbon freezing chamber and be on that same platform that Luke and Vader fought in. I wanted to hang off of that antenna piece below Cloud City. I wanted to be on Dagobah and walk through that weird swamp. I wanted to freeze to death on Hoth. All of these places are iconic and beautiful, and not to mention all the miniatures that were designed to go along with all of this. It is an amazing movie, and I still think that this is the career-defining moment for Harrison Ford. This is when I think of Harrison Ford movies, Empire Strikes Back, and then Indiana Jones and all the rest. Harrison Ford shines in this. He's charming, he's wonderful, he steals the show. Mark Hamill's great too, but this is like the Harrison Ford show on crack. I love it. So yeah, this is the best movie that I've ever seen. Probably will not get beaten.
This was an honorable mention for me. This was actually the first Star Wars movie I ever saw, and I don't think I've ever had another one top it in my estimation. I remember seeing it as a kid, loving the whole idea of it, and then watching the other movies and going,
You started with number 2.
"Hey, dude, I didn't know at the time."
You're mad, man.
My parents showed it to me. I didn't know it was the second one until later on.
Yeah.
So yeah, I blame them for that. But it's definitely, I think,
That is their fault.
Where
were the parents?
were the parents? They were sitting right there. They just didn't pay attention. But so yeah, and also the whole idea that the end of that movie, the good guys aren't exactly on top at the end of that movie, which is a theme that is super ballsy for a budding franchise to do. And like Avengers: Infinity War, same kind of idea. Like it sets up the stakes for the next movie, and yeah, it's probably one of the best sequels ever made. Absolutely, the set designs are great, the costumes. It's just you can't say enough about it. It's like again that term, it's iconic. Everyone knows Star Wars, and if anyone references it, it's probably from this movie of any of them.
Yeah, I was listening to Paul. I think I sent you a while back that Star Wars Lo-Fi today.
Yeah.
And I literally listened to it nonstop my entire 8-hour workday today. And so I was actually super into the idea of watching the old Star Wars movies again, and I think I'm going to do it. I'll probably do that after this episode if it's not too late. But yeah, this movie it's absolutely fantastic, and I think it does the best version of that idea that these two meet and they clash, and somehow Luke's got to get away. He can't beat Darth Vader right now, but Darth Vader can't beat him, and so how does that work? You know, and they really do the best version of that. And one thing that like stood out to me with the new sequels was there's a scene where they're fighting Kylo Ren, and then like a giant cliff just opens up in the ground.
Yeah.
And that's why they can't fight. And I was just like, come on. Like, you got, yeah. Come on. It's just a giant cliff just opens in the ground in front of you guys. Like, that's it. But this is the perfect example of how to do that right. Where, you know, he cuts his hand off and he falls down the thing and he thinks he's probably dead. And, you know, it's just it's a really interesting way to end that fight. But that entire fight is just some of the coolest imagery you will see. And there's so many quiet points during that duel that the sound design is just so good in it. It's literally perfect. The choices that are made with what you're visually seeing and what you're hearing, it really is one of the best duels ever put to film. And it's phenomenal. And it's interesting that in the next one, when they finally do have like their big duel, they go the complete opposite way on it. And you know, we all know how that goes. But this is, it's a really, really great choice.
Yeah, my favorite scene in all of Star Wars, aside from I'm a Jedi like my father before me. That's the best scene in Star Wars, but my favorite scene is when Luke he's on Cloud City in the carbon freezing chamber, walks through the door, and then you hear the door close behind him. And it's just this like, shwish, and he's just standing there with his lightsaber and trapped in this room that he knows Darth Vader's in. And I think of it every time that I see Alien, because there's a very similar vibe in that one scene and in the whole movie of Alien, where he's trapped with this terrifying creature in this corridor that he knows he can't beat. And Sigourney Weaver and Ripley are doing the same thing. Can't beat this thing. I gotta escape. I gotta figure out how. And so they're both outmatched. And it's the same sort of terror, but in Empire, it's done completely different to the point where, like, okay, I feel like Luke can survive. And in Alien, every time that I watch it, I'm like, I don't know how Ripley survives this. I just don't know how it happens. So it's a really cool parallel between those two movies, but a very similar vibe. And it's the way in which it's shot is just done so beautifully. So, yeah.
Very good choice.
Awesome.
For my number one, I went with my personal favorite director. You mentioned him earlier. He's definitely not as prolific as he once was, but Steven Spielberg. And for me, Jurassic Park is my favorite movie of all time. And it just was targeted right at me. I was a dinosaur kid growing up. I read books, had figures and such. Then I hear about this movie coming out and just begged my parents to take me to go see it. And like seeing the T-Rex on the big screen, like is something like you're a kid and you take things for granted, but that was just such a magical thing. And then the movie is just so good on top of it. Like on top of if it was a bad movie, I'd probably still like it because it's got dinosaurs in it. But it's based on a great book by Michael Crichton I've read a few times now. Spielberg takes his liberties with it, which is fine because he knows how to target to a mass audience. And just everything about it, the creature design, the practical effects, the cast, the score by John Williams is just fantastic. And just I can't say enough good things about it. Like I know I've talked about how I love those other 4 movies on my list, but if a meteor is gonna hit Earth tomorrow, and I can watch one movie before it's all over, I'm popping Jurassic Park on because it was my easy number one, and figuring out the rest of the list after that was a bit of a struggle. But yeah, I put that number one and just went from there because it is unquestionably my favorite movie of all time.
I mean, Jurassic Park was on my honorable mentions too. It's a classic. I grew up right when Jurassic Park happened, and I remember trying to reenact scenes and like buying those toy shotguns and running through the woods and trying to like escape raptors and stuff. It's a classic. I will say it is probably the movie that I've seen the second most of all time, like, or third most of all time. I will drop the remote and watch it, just because it's so entertaining and so fun. Yeah, and on any given Sunday, it would be on this top 5. It's just incredible. It's a great movie.
I annoyed my girlfriend the other day. We were just like, we put the thing on we have a Vudu or whatever they call it now, Fandango app, and you can put like movies on there and put it on shuffle. And we just had it on the background as we were packing up the house, trying to get ready for a move. And like the first like ding of the movie came on, I'm like, oh, Jurassic Park. She's like, how? I'm like, because I know this movie.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. It's incredible. It also begs the question for me, like, I think of Spielberg movies, and all of the Spielberg movies, like his top films, like Saving Private Ryan, E.T., Close Encounters of the Third Kind, Jurassic Park, like those 4 movies, Saving Private Ryan, there's been other war movies that have come out recently that I'm like, okay, that's on par with Saving Private Ryan, like Dunkirk, 1942, like those movies are pretty good. I would think that they're up there. Close Encounters of the Third Kind, I think Arrival beat Close Encounters of the Third Kind in terms of like encounter movies. I think Arrival is better. When you think of like Jaws or E.T., I think there are similar kind of movies that have been done by other filmmakers that rival those kind of movies. Jurassic Park has been done by other filmmakers, and they can't seem to get it as good as Steven Spielberg. Even Steven Spielberg can't get it as good as Steven Spielberg could. Like, that movie is so good and has been done so well that other filmmakers can't seem to match
Top it.
the level of perfection that he did. So it's a great movie. I think it's Spielberg's best movie, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with all those things. Jurassic Park is awesome. I just watched that not too long ago. I just tried to watch Jurassic Park The Lost World the other day, and I didn't even finish it. It's not like that bad, but like,
you gotta be into it.
I got like super tired during it, and I was like, I'm out of here.
When the gymnastic scenes happen.
Like,
yeah,
you know, everybody makes fun of the Alan scene from Jurassic Park 3 with the talking raptor. There is an equally stupid scene in Lost World, and it's at the beginning. One of the first scenes you have, it is in fact the transition from the first scene to the second scene, where the little girl is like screaming.
Her mom's screaming.
The mother is screaming, and it quickly transitions to Jeff Goldblum yawning. And so it looks like, but you can still hear the mother screaming, and he's just like, to her scream, and it is one of the stupidest things. And I was like, man, I forgot how stupid that is.
I guess I never really thought of it. I guess I really never thought of it, but it's pretty dumb. It's pretty dumb.
I just like it legitimately bugs me every time, and it kind of sneaks up on me every time too. I'm just like, ugh, like why? Like
I'll give you that.
I don't know. Spielberg has some big misses, and I think that is a big miss. Like, yeah.
Yeah, but Jurassic Park is, like you say, it is a masterpiece, and nobody has figured out how to do a dinosaur movie as good as him. I would argue that nobody's figured out how to do a shark movie as good as Jaws either. Although Jaws 2 does get the vibe and all that pretty close. We did that shark episode where we talked about Jaws 2 and Deep Blue Sea kind of being up there, but they got their own unique vibes to them too. But yeah, I thought Jaws was going to be your number one because I know you are a big Jaws fan.
I had it on the list. I didn't want 2 Spielberg, so I bumped it off.
Oh, you can do 2 Spielbergs.
I want to have a variety.
So now we're down to my number one. So this is going to come as no surprise to literally anybody. But my number one is John Carpenter's The Thing.
Yeah, I knew that was coming.
I've talked about it. I sneak it into pretty much every episode. I owned the video game once upon a time. I own the soundtracks. I own all these different versions of the movie that I've looked at with everybody. Yeah, we've played the board game. It, to me, is the best body horror. It nails, like, the score that goes along with it the moment the movie starts. And I own two different versions of the score on vinyl, too. But the moment it starts, and it's just like, boom, 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 boom. You just,
you get that
like,
immediately, too.
No, like, it's so perfect. And it's one of those things, just like I talked with Inception, it's like a little puzzle box where I notice things and I feel like I get another click every time I do it. And sometimes I watch something and I undo what I thought was a theory last time. And I'm like, nope, so I went the wrong way with that, and that's not what's going on here. But it's just one of those movies that, like, I've slowly been working out what exactly I think's going on the entire time, and how we're getting there with the ending, and all of it. And it's such a damn fun time to do. And one thing I was thinking about the other day that I don't know if I've ever talked about this, but in all my conversations about the movie, but the interesting thing about the dog being the thing and Clark, when he gets killed later in the movie, is human. And you start to wonder about that, of like, okay, but he's the first one that's hanging out with the thing. From the moment that alien dog gets to this base, it's hanging out with Clark. It had ample time to assimilate Clark. Clark should have been the first one to get assimilated. And one thing that occurred to me was, like, why would it not assimilate him? And all I can think is that this dude loves dogs. He's showing this dog an amount of affection, this alien has probably never felt before. You know, and so that's something that you probably don't pick up on the first maybe 5 times you watch this. Just wondering, like, and it was during that rewatch of when I was trying to work out when everybody gets assimilated, and I just thought that was so interesting. And one thing that also occurred to me is it could be like super slow assimilating him because it wants to savor, like, the affection that it's getting from him, or saving him for last. You know, one of those things. You know, because it can assimilate on a cellular level, so maybe it's, you know, it's going so slow that it doesn't even register on the blood test. But I tend to think that he was probably just saving him for last because of the affection that he was showing to him, and you know, that's something that just comes with seeing it so many times.
Yeah, I every time that I see this movie, I just think about how there's that TV trope called bottleneck episode where everybody's kind of stuck in one room and nobody really moves or does anything. This movie is a bottleneck movie. Like, everybody's contained in one area, and it works. They're in Antarctica. They can't really get out or do anything, and that is the way in which the mystery unfolds, is because there's no outside influence. It's kind of all contained, very intimate. And every time that I see this movie, I think the setting play is the silent character in all of this. Like, the snow, the isolation, the cold, all of these different things is the, you know, obviously the Thing is the main villain here, but it is Antarctica is the second villain. Like, that is the thing that is constantly, like, chasing them down. It's the Freddy versus Jason of this movie. Like, what's going to kill you? Is it going to be the cold, or is it going to be the Thing? What's going to influence you more? Is it Antarctica, or is it the Thing, the alien? What is the thing that, the actual thing that's going to, like, pin you? Is it going to be the alien, or is it going to be the weather? And so the way in which John Carpenter puts those two things, no pun intended, as the primary like antagonists of the movie. For every single character, there's like a hidden villain, and it's Antarctica the whole time. It's this weather, it's the cold. It's phenomenal, and you don't really pick up on it on the first watch. You're just really only focused on the alien itself, the thing, and then on subsequent watches you realize like the other villain is this just like brutal cold that is trapping you and is constantly there and is oppressive and creates the environment in which the alien can thrive. It's a phenomenally well done and well set up movie. So yeah,
Completely agree. My internet went out again, but I think I'm back and everything's good. That's annoying, but that's life, I guess. Yeah, I really like what you said about the dog thing, Pat. I never really thought about it that way, but it could be like the alien was just confused by the affection. But yeah, that's cool. That's a good way to think about it.
this is a great movie. I probably could. I almost kept it off of number 5 because I knew you were going to put it as number 1. I was like, maybe I'll keep it off and then we'll have this conversation about it. But I put it on there just because it's. I mean, we've talked about it. This is like the creme de la creme. Every time I try to get Rachel to watch it, Rachel has still not seen it, but it is just a phenomenal movie. And every time I watch it, I tell Rachel, like, oh my God, I just watched the thing and I got to talk about it. And she's like, shut up about the thing already. Like, you're just talking about this movie every time you watch it for the next 3 days. That's all you talk about. And it's because it warrants that long of a conversation. Like, it's just so great. And you pick up on all of these things on it. Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing is it hides
The
just
puns.
enough under the surface that you can really, really dig into theories on it, you know? Like, you look at, like, Wilford Brimley's character, and everybody, it seems, has a different theory about what happens to him. Now, my theory is that when he's doing the autopsy, that dude is not, like... He's got blood on his arm. He's just flipping through this thing, and I think he got it on him. That's what I think, and he's getting slowly assimilated. And the point where he goes crazy is the point where he realizes that not only is it probably assimilating him, it's probably assimilating everybody, and he wants to stop it. He would cut off all communication and then, you know, maybe kill everybody, whatever it is, but he's losing it because he doesn't know what to do. And once he gets locked away in that room, by the time they come and see him again, when they make that choice, it's already fully assimilated him. And that's what I think is he got like just enough of it on him to slowly assimilate him from the inside out. And a lot of people even think their theory is that somebody went out and they just opened the door and assimilated him that way. And so that's the interesting thing about it is like you can go so many different ways with it because it just doesn't show. It doesn't show so many things, but it shows enough for everything to be interesting and engaging and very, very, thematic the entire way through. But even the way like it represents paranoia the whole way into it, because it shows that things are happening, but you don't see any of them. So you kind of feel that paranoia too.
Absolutely.
It's also a really weird parallel between your number 2 and your number 1, where like the ending of The Thing is very ambiguous. Like, you don't know if either of them are assimilated. The ending of Inception is equally ambiguous. Like, you know if they're in a dream or not. And the truth is, I don't care either ending of those. Like, I don't care to have a definitive answer. It's all of the different things within those two stories that are the most appealing to me. Like, trying to piece it out and trying to come to your own conclusions at the end. Like, I'm fine with an ambiguous ending as long as the content leading up to it is so rich and engaging. So, yeah.
Absolutely. It doesn't hold your hand. That's what's so good about it, is that you can kind of, as you've done many times, and I'm sure we all have, is try to like make your own, like, what happened when this happened and all that stuff, and is this person affected the end, and and there's all kinds of fan theories, and that's great about it. Like, it's an active fan community, so you gotta applaud that.
All right, do you guys want to talk about some honorable mentions?
A lot of them came up while we were talking. I was
Yeah.
gonna bring up Inception. I had Inception on my short list. Jaws was on my short list. Saving Private Ryan was on my short list. Shawshank we didn't really talk about, but I mean everyone knows Shawshank. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm surprised Shawshank didn't end up on anybody's list.
Me too. My honorable mentions were a lot different. Natural Born Killers.
Yeah, okay.
I'm surprised no one talked about that. That I know it's not a Tarantino movie, but that's my favorite Tarantino joint. Like he was involved in that. I love Natural Born
That's
Killers.
very good.
I think it's a incredible movie. Scott Pilgrim versus the
Oh,
World,
dude.
best comic book adaptation. I think in general.
Absolutely love that movie.
I think it's incredible. Terminator is one of my favorite James Cameron movies. I think it is still continues to be like turning a tight budget into a thriller, like a timeless situation. It's incredible. The movie that just made it off the list that probably every other day would be on it is The Fifth Element. The Fifth Element is one of my favorite science fiction movies. I think I've seen that one, maybe fourth most of all time. It's the best Bruce Willis movie. It's got some like really iconic moments in it. Chris Tucker is incredible in that movie. The sets and the different worlds, it's amazing. I could wax poetically about The Fifth Element for a long time. It's great.
Some great Bruce Willis and Gary Oldman right there.
Yeah, that is a good one. That is one I didn't even think of, and I should have. But yeah, Scott Pilgrim versus the World, that movie I absolutely love. That should have been on my short list, but it didn't pop my mind for some reason. I absolutely love that movie. That's one of those ones I've championed too for a while. I try to get people to watch it.
Yes, you have. I think on one of our affiliate trips, didn't you bring that with
I
you?
did, yeah.
Yeah, I'm surprised.
It's a great movie. It's a great cast of characters too. I think I mentioned it briefly, but I think it's the best comic book adaptation of them. Of like Edgar Wright is just on point all the time in that. It's great.
Yeah. You know what I was surprised not to see you bring up at all, Paul?
What's that?
Either one of the Blade Runner movies.
Blade Runner is on here, and the reason I kept it off was I've rewatched Blade Runner 2049 recently, and I love it, and I think it's really good. And Dune 2 is just so good. I just cannot look at a Denny movie and not think of how good Dune is. Like Dune 2 almost made it onto this list, and that's how great that movie is. Dune 2 is phenomenal, and so it makes me feel like Blade Runner is not as good because all of the elements that are in Blade Runner 2049 are done perfectly in Dune 2, in my opinion. Like plot-wise, set-piece-wise, great. And Ridley Scott is probably my favorite director, no surprise. And I kept Blade Runner off the list because Alien is just way too good. I could,
You know, Dan has still never seen either one of the.
I know.
Oh, you gotta watch them. If not for just being a part of the zeitgeist, just to Harrison Ford in that movie is doing his like. I think he only has 3 characters. He has Indiana Jones, he has Han Solo, and then he has Deckard. And Deckard is like his trump card. He pulls it out every once in a while in movies, and it's the subtle, like quiet version of Harrison Ford that doesn't come out much. But when it comes out, it's really great. And so he's doing that throughout this whole movie. It's a great performance by Harrison Ford. Edward James Olmos is really great in that too.
Rutger Hauer.
It's wonderful. Yeah. No.
I just bought it digitally. I got to get it done. Just haven't gotten to it yet. I'm slowly getting there. Slowly, like by like March next year, I'll have it watched, guaranteed.
My opinion is watch the theatrical cut, then watch the director's cut, and then watch the final cut. Like go in that way, and take about a week off in between each of them. Yeah.
I like that. I'm gonna write that down actually.
So one that I had on my honorable mentions here was Gladiator.
Yeah, it's a great choice.
That's one that I've in many conversations called a masterpiece, and if I was doing a top 10, it would have been in there.
Yep.
really, really, really amazing movie. One of my favorite scores of all time. Once again, Hans Zimmer.
And another Ridley Scott.
Yep.
Like,
Yeah.
incredible. Yeah.
That's Russell Crowe at the top of his game.
Joaquin Phoenix.
Bar none. Yep.
Yeah. And one that I thought about, and I think I left it off for the same reason you left Dune 2 off, was Sinners. So I was a huge, huge, huge fan of Sinners, but I think it is just too new for me to put on a list like this. Because, I mean, these, like, everything that's on here has really stood the test of time. And so to put something on there that's only a couple months old is you really don't know how you feel about certain movies once, like, time has passed and all those things. But I really do think it's going to be, I know at this point it's going to be one of my favorite movies of this year, probably of the last couple years. But it's fantastic, and so I think in the long run it's probably going to be on this list somewhere.
And same idea. Godzilla -1 I thought about for a bit, but I gotta give it a little bit more time before I put it on the list.
Yeah, sneakily, Godzilla -1 is up there for me too, but I would still rank Shin Godzilla just a little
I gotta see that.
above it.
That's the one from early 2000, right?
Yeah, that's Hideki Ono. Yeah, it's great. Rachel and I are in the middle of Sinners right now, so I'm excited. We're watching it in like chunks because we want to watch it together, and it's been really enjoyable so far. Love it.
Yeah, I saw that twice at the movies, and I bought both versions of the soundtrack, and I got a poster of it sitting over here, and I ordered the 4K steelbook of it, which has not arrived yet. It was supposed to arrive on the 7th, so I'm pretty upset about that too.
Yeah.
I had 2 Kurt Russell movies on mine, and I had 3 Al Pacino movies and 2 Robert De Niro movies.
2 Kilmer movies too.
And 2 Kilmer movies.
That's right.
Yeah.
Wow.
I had 2 Bill Paxton movies.
What were
Yeah.
Aliens and what?
Tombstone.
Yes. I had 1 Bill Paxton movie.
I had 2 Elijah Wood movies with Eternal Sunshine and Fellowship.
I have to watch that again. Or I have to watch that one, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Tom's talked about it so much, I don't know why. Probably because he's talked about it so much, at a certain point, someone just constantly tells you something, you're like, no, okay, I'll get to it.
I'm done. Yeah.
You got 2 Michael Biehn movies on yours too, Dan.
Yeah. Well, look at that. That's fun.
All right. So we're all out of time today, so we're going to join and reconvene for the franchise Battle Royale this time next week. So thank you, everybody, for joining us to watch this whole thing. And Dan and Paul, thank you too so much for joining tonight and going through the top 5 favorite movies of all time.
Heck yeah.
Happy to do it. It was great.
It was a lot of fun.
Awesome. Well, thank you, everybody. Please like and subscribe wherever you're watching this, and feel free to throw a comment down below, especially if you're on YouTube, with your top 5. We've seen a lot of that lately, and I love to see.
Yeah, it's cool.
See what everybody else is thinking out there.
Yeah, keep doing that. That's great. We like the interaction.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you.